Before empires collapsed, before betrayal shattered families, before violence filled the earth, there was something unseen, not weapons, not armies, but the condition of the human heart. Centuries ago, Christian thinkers identified 7 core sins, not because they are the biggest sins, but because they are the roots, the seeds, the 7 deadly sins, and every one of them still lives today. 1. Pride. The first fall. Pride is the beginning. It was pride that led Lucifer to say, "I will ascend. I will be like the Most High." It was pride that hardened Pharaoh's heart, pride that blinded kings, pride that refuses correction. Pride doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it whispers, "I don't need help. I'm better than this. I deserve more." But pride builds a throne where only God should sit, and when you crown yourself king, the fall is inevitable, because pride always goes before destruction. 2. Greed. The endless hunger. Greed is a hunger with no stomach. It is never full, never satisfied. You get the money, you want more. You gain the power, you crave control. You win once, you must win again. Greed convinces you that your worth is measured by what you own. It turns blessings into obsessions. Judas walked with Jesus, yet for silver coins he traded eternity. Greed promises security, but leaves you spiritually bankrupt. 3. Lust. Desire without boundaries. Desire is not evil, but when desire rules you, it becomes lust. Lust distorts love. It replaces covenant with craving. It sees people not as souls, but as satisfaction. Samson was strong enough to kill a lion, but not strong enough to resist temptation. Lust begins in secret, in imagination, in a second glance, but unchecked desire can destroy destiny. What feels good in a moment can cost you a lifetime. 4. Envy, the silent poison. Envy rarely shouts, it smiles, while secretly comparing. It watches someone else's success and whispers, "That should be mine." Cain looked at Abel, not with celebration, but with resentment. Envy steals gratitude. It blinds you to your own blessings. It turns admiration into bitterness, friendship into rivalry, peace into restlessness. And the tragic part? Envy never improves your life. It only makes you miserable watching someone else's. 5. Wrath, fire without control. Anger is human, but wrath is anger unleashed. It burns bridges, it breaks families, it scars hearts. One uncontrolled moment can undo years of trust. Wrath convinces you that revenge is justice, but rage doesn't solve pain. It multiplies it. Moses struck the rock in anger and missed the promised land. Uncontrolled anger can cost you your promise. 6. Gluttony, the spirit of excess. Gluttony is more than overeating. It is overconsumption. Too much comfort, too much pleasure, too much self-indulgence. It says, if it feels good, take more. But discipline builds strength. Excess builds weakness. When appetite becomes authority, self-control disappears. And what you refuse to control will eventually control you. 7. Sloth. The slow death sloth is not just laziness. It is spiritual neglect. It is knowing what is right, but choosing not to act. It is delaying obedience, postponing growth, ignoring purpose. It says, tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and potential slowly fades. The most dangerous sin is sometimes not what you do, but what you never do. The 7 deadly sins are not just history. They are daily battles. Pride versus humility, greed versus generosity, lust versus purity, envy versus gratitude, wrath versus patience, gluttony versus discipline, sloth versus diligence. The battlefield is invisible. It is the mind, the heart, the will. But here is the hope. Sin may be powerful, but grace is greater. Where pride grows, humility can rise. Where greed takes, generosity gives. Where lust corrupts, love restores. Freedom is possible, but it begins with awareness. So ask yourself, Which sin whispers to you the loudest? Which one feels familiar? Because what you entertain you empower, and what you feed will grow. Guard your heart, because the greatest battles are not fought with swords. They are fought within.